Hey everybody, it's Joe Horn here. It is 9:35. My wife, who is holding my phone, and I are on our way to the hospital, the ICU, where my father is being kept. For those that are not familiar or haven't heard, he had a major cardiovascular event this week, which caught a lot of us by surprise because his labs have been so beautiful. His LDL, his HDL, his blood pressure, his appearance, his color. He's made what was perceived so many gains since his difficult bout with long COVID a couple of years back. But it was discovered that he had what, in medical terms, they call the widowmaker, the main aortal valve north of his heart, essentially, that provides anywhere from 70 to 80% of the blood flow to that part of the body, was at a 100% blockage. And I don't want to get into the long version of this story, but it started a few weeks ago, a series of trips to the ER, doctors kind of probably being guided by the Holy Spirit, whether they were aware of it or not. You know, Tom, even though your tests look good, we think we need to get you in for an angiogram. Well, this last Wednesday, as he walked into the hospital, it was discovered that he was actively having what would have probably been an end-of-life heart attack, a catastrophic heart attack. They barely got him in for a procedure where they were able to stent his heart. And the fact, by the way, I want to back up just a minute. The fact that I'm even sharing this breaks familial protocol. My mother and father, the history of my life, they have never ever consented to videos of them being sick or pictures, or they don't even really like being named or identified in specific efforts for prayer when it comes to their health, because they truly and genuinely are private people that don't want to bother people.
Yeah.
They really don't want to play on people's sympathies. They don't want to make spectacles of themselves. My dad has raised me my whole life into my mid-40s saying everybody's carrying their own water. Everybody's going through something, and I don't want to be the reason they drop what they're doing to focus on me. You know, I'm in God's hands. And but this event is different. Last night, he actually consented from his ICU bed the sharing of one photograph of him hooked up to his oxygen and everything else. And I want you to know why. I really want you to know from my heart why. As my dad has been up and down, and you know, it's really difficult. I'm forgetting what days of the week it even is. We've been there night and day. My mother has not left the hospital. The people in the ICU have been really good to let her stay in a recliner. She's been being brought changes of clothing, and has not left his side. She's absolutely exhausted. And it's the standard kind of topsy-turvy up and down of, well, this number over here looks optimistic, but there's this looming threat of potential pneumonia. But right now the labs don't show any pneumonia, but there's this other paradox happening with what's called pulsativity events. Anybody that's a cardiovascular doctor or nurse knows that it can be common when you have a massive heart attack event like that. They've put him on a unit called a Premier Flow or something to that effect. Basically what it is it's sitting right there on top of his heart, and when it detects that his heart is slowing down or basically failing, it kicks in, reminds the heart how to pump. It also is carrying, 80 or upwards of the burden of moving the blood throughout his body. So the way that the nurses have explained it to me essentially is the machine, this is when I pull them, of course, away from my dad and my mother out into the hall to get a very sober analysis of what's happening, that the machines are doing basically a lot of the carrying right now, a lot of the heavy lifting. I want to share some stuff that will bring a smile to your face, but I want to back up. The reason that I'm sharing this and want you to see my face and my voice and my cadence, the reason that I'm being permitted to share these types of details is because my father, when he's able to speak, is saying stuff like this, and you need to hear this. I witnessed him say this 2 or 3 times last night to my mother, and he's speaking just above a whisper, but he's saying, our Skywatch family deserves to know what's happening with our family right now. These are not just viewers, these aren't just book fans, these are our extended family. And I feel their prayers. They need to know what's going on, and he has completely consented to the update process and so forth. I've never seen my dad so open as to consent to a picture of him lying there in a hospital bed without a shirt on. And to be fair, he didn't see the picture. He tried, but he even this close was struggling to make it out. He said, "Ask your mom about it." Let me tell you some good things, and then I'll tell you some of the challenges. So the good things are, and again, I'll get a better update here in a minute. He is mostly very coherent. I would say mostly 95% he is coherent. For you people out there that love his books, you should know that he cannot stop coming up with content. When I talked to him in the COVID tower via the telephone a few years ago, he was laying there barely able to speak. And that was honestly where the 3-book, the Jesus from Genesis to Revelation series, that's where that came from. He can't be stopped. I mean, the guy is just, as long as he's drawing breath, he's doing two things. He's trying to give glory to the Lord, and he's trying to think up ways to do that. Yesterday, when he was able to speak, and again, mostly coherent, and when I say able to speak, he is still having events where he cannot breathe, and they're trying to move fluid off of his lungs. Those are very frightening moments. They're very difficult to watch. Somebody that you would gladly die for, watching them suffer, that's a different conversation for a different time. But for those that have ever been in an ICU or watched somebody go through something like a cancer or like an automobile accident and their life is hanging in the balance, you know that you would jump in and tag in and lie in the bed, carry it for them if you could. And the feeling of helplessness that swells up inside when you're unable to change things other than to just cry out for the Lord for relief. And I will just collapse because there's a lot to say. And if you go to my Facebook, if that's not where you are now, if you want the blow-by-blow update, I've tried to keep posts every 4 or 5 hours, give you an update of what's going on. But I want you to know that when my dad is able to speak, I kid you not, he's asking me where we're at on programs. What are we planning to do for the first quarter next year? How are we coming along with certain things we've not even announced on Skywatch? And he's asking my mom to make sure that she gets all of the names of the nurses and doctors that are taking care of him, because when he goes home, he wants to make sure that they get gift cards and certificates to restaurants and just flowers. That's some of the positive. He can't be bothered in some ways to know how serious his situation is. He's talking about the next books that he's going to write, and those are all very positive things. And I tried to protest and lost this battle very quickly. I tried to protest for a couple of minutes, when we first started talking to him. Dad, don't be thinking about ministry stuff right now. Don't be thinking about books. Don't be thinking about Defender Publishing. You can worry about all that, when you get home. But I quickly caught on to the fact that this was his way of staying present and engaged in life, and I stopped pushing back. Okay, Dad, let's talk, man. What do you got? And he wants me to tell him what's happening with Eden's Essentials and the spike protein detox protocols that are coming. And I want to quickly ask my wife, am I missing anything? I know I'm just kind of rambling here, but this is totally unplanned and totally
you could talk
unscripted.
About the specificness, that's why we wanted to ask for specific prayers.
Right now there are 2 specific prayers. I'm confused on some of the details, and I plan to ask the doctors and the nurses when I get there here in a few minutes. there's been some confusion about this pulsativity event. They were frequent on night 1, frequent on night 2, and now there's questions about whether they're becoming less frequent. But I will give you the prevailing, barring the details that are driving me crazy, the prevailing takeaway this morning from one of the head doctors that actually finally came to check on my dad, who I think is the guy above doctor. Well,
Yeah.
for matters of privacy, I won't reveal the doctor's names, but I believe this man to be one of the senior chiefs of staff over this wing that my father's in. Yeah. And according to him this morning, it was a pretty short update, but it was basically things have improved. There have been no significant upsets developed recently. We stay the course. And they're talking about maybe this coming Monday. So this is very important target, folks, that there would be this attempt to start weaning him off of the machines, which, if you know anything at all about how some of this plays out, even talking about goals and objectives that smell like we're going to wean away from machines, we're going to be making these moves to get his heart to kick it up a notch, essentially. Right. I just feel that all of those here in this realm, not even counting on the supernatural part that we know is way more important, just listening to man speak over the situation, that can be encouraging. But we know that God is the ultimate physician, and I've already watched this week when areas of specific prayer have been like laser focused, it has moved needles.
Yeah. So
the areas of focus right now that we would love and welcome all of your prayer and support to addressing is, sorry, I know this is not the most articulate video. I am in traffic trying to drive and do a video, and I don't do Facebook Lives or videos like this. But the areas of focus are that his heart would continue to show that it's showing up for itself, that it's becoming stronger and less dependent on the machines, and this other looming, circulating plot about the potential for a pneumonia that could change plans very quickly, that just continues to dissipate. That was the other praise report this morning, was that the most recent images of his lungs looked like there had been some improvement to the amount of fluid that's wanting to pool up. And I can tell you that right now, my dad is not suffering like he was earlier this week. I can't and keep a lid on it explain to you what Wednesday and Thursday was like. It's suffering. And you guys really went to bat for him, and sometime, I believe, Thursday morning, early Thursday morning.
I think it was Friday.
I'm sorry, folks, I'm literally losing my mind. Maybe, yeah, it was sometime in the middle of the night between Thursday and Friday a.m. at 2 in the morning. So technically Friday a.m. to 2 in the morning a.m.ish. There was a subsiding of just the sheer suffering. And it was all of the levels. It was all of the levels, body-wide, pain. I have never seen someone at his age struggle for it had to have been 16 straight hours of breathing, where every single breath is a marathon. Mm-hmm. And I'm asking the doctors, how can a person at his age put that kind of heave into just breathing? And before he even went to the hospital for what was supposed to be a routine angiogram to rule out the potential of a hiatal hernia, that turned into he is actively dying. Those were the doctor's words. He was dying when he walked in. How does he have the strength? My dad had not slept but maybe 3 hours in 4 or 5 days in the lead up. Yeah, okay. In the spirit of keeping all of this useful from the bottom of our hearts, we just are so blessed. We are the most blessed family on the face of the earth, that we have an extended family of people that we may never have the pleasure of meeting face to face or seeing every little one of your comments on Facebook. But the Holy Spirit is using you to minister to my family in this very difficult time. And it's even gotten to my dad. I want you to know he's in there talking about his Skywatch family his words exactly, they deserve to know what's going on. He's like, these aren't just indifferent book fans and people you meet at conferences. He's like, these are family. They've been with us for years. They've supported us at Whispering Ponies Ranch. They've sown into our dreams and our ministry endeavors. They deserve to know what's happening. So we love you. We feel your love, and we're the most blessed family in the world. Please continue to pray for my dad.
Stay here, I think.
Nope, I got to get over.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, they've closed one part of the freeway here. Love you. Thank you.